The Israeli Air Force just issued an emergency evacuation order covering an entire district of Tehran, home to Iran's last functioning missile production facilities. Hezbollah fired a drone straight into a British Royal Air Force base in Cyprus. Israel's military chief stood before his commanders and warned them that the worst is still coming. And tonight, classified intelligence reaching Tel Aviv is pointing to one terrifying conclusion. Iran has not yet used its most dangerous weapon. Iran has been holding back. And the moment it decides to stop holding back, everything changes. This is the story of Iran's last card, and Israel is starting to panic. Welcome. Subscribe right now because what you are about to hear is the intelligence picture behind the headlines, the part of this war that the press conferences don't cover and the official statements deliberately obscure. Let's go. We are on day 11 of Operation Epic Fury, and on the surface, the military scoreboard looks like an American and Israeli victory. The combined U.S.-Israeli force has achieved air dominance over Iran. Iranian ballistic missile attacks have dropped 90% since day one. Drone attacks are down 83%. Over 300 ballistic missile launchers have been rendered inoperable. Israel's pilots have conducted approximately 2,500 strikes using over 6,000 munitions. Those numbers are real. That destruction is real. But here is the thing about military scoreboards. They tell you what has been taken away. They do not tell you what the enemy still has. And what Iran still has is what is keeping Israeli defense officials awake at night. Like this video right now if you want the full intelligence picture. Now let's talk about what is actually worrying Israel. Senior Israeli officials warned on March 9th that Hezbollah is preparing to dramatically increase the volume of its rocket and drone attacks against Israel in the coming days, as part of a deliberate strategy to draw Israeli attention away from Iran. Senior defense officials briefed Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Katz directly, warning that Hezbollah still has a large number of launchers and the full capability to launch sustained attacks despite everything Israel has thrown at it. Hezbollah, the word that changes every calculation in this war. While the world has been focused on Iran's missiles and drones, Hezbollah has been watching, waiting, conserving, and now, according to Israel's own senior officials, it is about to move. And Hezbollah's arsenal, built quietly over years of rearming after the 2006 war, is estimated to contain over 150,000 rockets and missiles of varying range and precision, a stockpile that not even the most optimistic Israeli defense planner believes can be fully neutralized by airstrikes alone. Iran has warned that European countries that joined the war on the side of the U.S. and Israel are now legitimate targets. Italy sent defensive weapons to the Persian Gulf, while its own defense minister said the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran violated international law. Spain called the war an extraordinary mistake, and shipping giant Maersk became the second major shipping company to suspend all operations in the Middle East as oil storage tanks across the region fill up because exports have all but stopped, Iran having effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz. The strait is closed, the world's most critical energy choke point. And now Iran is threatening to extend the war to every European nation that supports American operations. The circle of conflict is widening every single day. But let's get to the intelligence that is truly alarming Israel, the thing the military briefings describe as the last defense protocol. Between February 28th and March 4th alone, Iran launched more than 90 attempted strikes against Israel. Around 20 directly hit civilian areas, resulting in at least 10 people killed. This 5-day total represents more than 60% of all Iran's attacks recorded during the entire 12-day war last June. And here is the critical detail hidden inside that statistic. Iran burned through 60% of its June 2025 attack volume in just 5 days. That means one of two things. Either Iran is running low on missiles, or Iran has been holding its best weapons in reserve, waiting for the right moment to use them in a single, coordinated, overwhelming strike. Israeli intelligence community believes it is the second scenario. Commercially available satellite imagery confirmed on March 8th that the combined U.S.-Israeli force struck underground facilities at the Isfahan missile complex, the most heavily fortified missile storage site in Iran, presumably making it harder for military personnel to access underground missile silos. Underground silos, hardened, deeply buried. The reason the U.S. and Israel are still striking those facilities on day 11 after declaring they destroyed Iran's missile capability on day 1 is because Iran built its most critical weapon infrastructure deep underground in places that require the United States' most powerful bunker buster bombs to reach. And even after 11 days of the most intense American bombardment since the Iraq War, those silos have not all been confirmed destroyed. Share this video. This is the piece of the story that the official briefings are glossing over. Now, here is where it gets even more serious. Israeli ministers are now privately saying that regime change in Iran could take up to a year. Netanyahu and Finance Minister Smotrich just announced a joint emergency measure to increase Israel's defense budget by $9 billion on top of the existing $34 billion already allocated, calling the destruction of Iran's remaining capabilities a multi-billion shekel undertaking requiring a special wartime budget. 1 year, $9 billion in new defense spending on top of $34 billion already committed. Those are not the numbers of a country that believes the war is almost over. Those are the numbers of a country bracing for a long fight against an enemy that still has cards to play. Iran launched a hybrid drone and missile attack at Tel Aviv on Thursday night. CNN teams on the ground saw what appeared to be a cluster warhead above central Israel. Iran fired over 500 ballistic and naval missiles and almost 2,000 drones since February 28th. The UAE intercepted 109 drones and 9 ballistic missiles in a single day. A hotel, 2 residential buildings, and an oil refinery were hit in Bahrain. Iran launched another wave of drones targeting American bases in Kuwait. A cluster warhead over Tel Aviv. Think about what that means in terms of what Iran was attempting. A cluster warhead is designed to hit not one target. It is designed to spread destruction across a wide area over one of the most densely populated cities in Israel. And it was intercepted, this time. The question Israel cannot stop asking itself is, what happens the time it is not intercepted? What happens when Iran fires not one cluster warhead, but 20 simultaneously, from different directions, overwhelming the Iron Dome and Arrow systems through sheer saturation? That is the scenario Israeli defense planners call the last protocol, and they don't have a clean answer for it. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said publicly that he does not believe in regime change from the skies. Italy's defense minister said the U.S.-Israel attack violated international law. Spain called it an extraordinary mistake. Canada said it cannot rule out participation. France sent its aircraft carrier toward the Mediterranean. The Western alliance is fracturing in real time over this war, some partners sending weapons, others condemning the operation, and Iran is watching every crack, calculating exactly how much further it can push before the coalition behind Israel and America loses the will to hold together. This is the arithmetic of the last defense protocol. Iran does not need to defeat the United States. It cannot. What it needs is to make the cost high enough for long enough that the political will in Washington and in Western capitals collapses before the Iranian regime does. Every American soldier wounded, every oil price spike, every European government that breaks from the U.S. position, every Hezbollah rocket that reaches northern Israel, every day the strait stays closed and global shipping costs climb. All of it is part of a strategy of attrition that Iran has been preparing for years, precisely because it knew it could not win a conventional war. Iran's supreme leader was assassinated on day one. His defense minister and IRGC commander were likely killed in the first strikes, and still Iran appointed a new supreme leader within days, reorganized its command structure, and continued fighting. The regime did not collapse. It adapted, and the son it installed as supreme leader is considered more hard-line than his father and more supportive of nuclear weapons development. The United States killed the head of the snake, and the snake grew a new head, a more dangerous one. That is the moment Israel is in right now. The bombing has been devastating. The military degradation is real, but the regime